students coming to work for me and then going off and copying my work.
You have to make it work.
Yeah, no, totally.
You have to, like.
And I think you also have to take opportunities when they come your way.
Yeah, this necklace, I need to make these rings, I need to do this, and you sign the thing, la la la, but never actually having time to like step out and step back and look at it and like, okay, where do I want this to go?
Yes.
What do I need to do?
I was kind of feeling like happy in a way, because I was very much feeling like I was on a hamster wheel, just producing for the shop.
Hello everybody, welcome to another video. I am here with my lovely friend Maritjie, who has agreed to do a YouTube video with me. So she's also a jewelry designer and has been for a long time. How many years actually have you been making for?
So I started my business in 2006, I guess, but I finished studying in 2003. Yeah.
Where did you study?
At Cape Tech.
Cape Tech.
Yeah,
Cool.
so I did a BTech, like a 4-year jewelry design manufacturer at Cape Tech. Yeah.
Did they? I'm super curious because like all the different courses that I've seen around and the one that I did didn't have anything to do with the business side of things. Like, did yours?
No, we
cover
did.
That?
No, yeah,
it did.
Yeah, I mean, not like great, like pretty like mainstream, I guess, business management in general type of stuff, which I don't think any of it really applies to running a small business in the way that we do.
Exactly, I was going to say, because like even when you look at like business plans online, it's like this ridiculously elaborate, crazy thing, and it's just like, it's irrelevant, like half of that stuff. It doesn't apply. It needs to be like super specific.
Yes, it doesn't apply at all to small businesses. And to be quite honest, I can't remember any of the business stuff that we learned. I'm sure it landed somewhere. It's like somewhere maybe it got stuck.
So then how did you turn it into business? Like, did you always know from the beginning that you were going to do a business out of it, or did it start as a hobby?
Yeah, no, So before I studied jewelry design, I kind of realized that I could do stuff, like I could actually use pliers and things to make rings and things out of wire. I did do art at school, but I wasn't sure what direction I wanted to take it in. So I went to like art school.
Me too.
And then because of the practicality, I guess, of jewelry and like kind of feeling like you can do it anywhere, and I thought, cool, that's what I want to study. And then even while I was studying it, I don't think I gave it much thought as to where I was going to take it. And even while I was studying, people were going off in all sorts of directions with jewelry design. And I guess back then there wasn't a lot of people that actually went the direction that I went in.
Are you still in touch with anybody from back then?
So,
any of them making jewelry?
Yes,
business?
Some people are making jewelry, like mostly kind of like doing custom jobs for people. Not so many. Now I feel like there's just new kids making jewelry all over the place, and they just like randomly make, kind of have that model of small jewelry businesses where back then it didn't actually really exist.
Yeah, I agree. Like I didn't know many people making jewelry back then.
Yes, and their own kind of things.
Yeah.
So I think how it started for me was I got involved with Justin and Cameron from What of the World Gallery, and they did markets at their gallery when it was still on Hope Street in Cape Town, and I sent it down from the Eastern Cape to friends to sell for me, and then they said they want to start this market, the Biscuit Mill Market, and I was like, I'm on board, because they were really great at running things, and kind of creating these really cool markets. Even though I wasn't there myself, it was like it attracted the right kind of people.
So they were the ones, Justin and then were the ones organizing the Biscuit Mill.
They started the neighbor goods market at the Biscuit Mill.
Okay.
So they're the people that started it. And then I was living in the Eastern Cape, and then I used to send jewelry to friends in Cape Town, and they used to take my stuff to the market and sell it for me. And so that was really the kind of the beginning of my business, feeling, actually, maybe I could do this,
People are buying it.
People are buying my things, and and there's not there weren't a lot of other people back then actually having that kind of business. There was I had some friends, but very few of us.
Yeah.
And then also that year when we moved back to Cape Town, it was in 2007. It was the first time I went to the Design and Daba Expo.
Such a good place. Wow.
Yes.
That's so good.
So that was really great because it kind of all of a sudden opened you up to like a whole network of kind of creative people wanting to buy handmade. So I feel like that also really launched my business and my brand. Now it doesn't even exist anymore. And I also,
really? It's closed now.
well, the Design and Daba still happens, but the expo they don't do anymore.
Oh, shame.
Yeah, that was like a great way of making money, a great way of meeting the right kind of people that were into kind of like my things.
Yeah. It's so important to find the right market. Like I think so many people, like students and people I've spoken to in the past, they're like, it's so much effort like preparing for market, and then you go and it's like, oh, right.
Yes, and I've done loads.
You did that too? Yeah. Not the right ones.
It's just like, I think that's for me the biggest part of like figuring out how to make money is to connect with the right avenues. And it's not obvious.
Exactly.
It's like kind of trial and error, and I think it takes all for me definitely now. I mean, through all the different directions my business have gone, and now I don't even do markets anymore. I do the Kamers voor Geskenke show maybe once a year, which is great.
Yeah.
But they've got like 5 a year. I'm not up for that.
Yeah.
And now I'm supplying shops, and I feel like if I think about all the different shops that I've supplied over the years, and like how many shops have like ordered once, and they never order again.
But that's the thing, is like trying it and then not like giving up. So, it didn't work. Like, okay, just try a different one. Exactly.
And then it takes time to actually connect with the right shops.
Exactly. But that's kind of like, I feel like knowing your style, like helps you to then choose the right shops, because you have an understanding of your style and the target audience that likes your type of jewelry. So then you can approach the shops and not waste your time with that.
Yeah.
How would you describe your jewelry style?
I guess playful and colorful.
Definitely.
And I guess for me it's like I really love enameling, so I think that's just kind of like what I love to do, and after all these years I still love doing it, so like that's something I just constantly want to play with, and it does feel like play, which is great. I think for me what I love about jewelry is that I can just try new things. I like making things. So for me, it's almost more that initial kind of like idea of like having a new idea and then making it for the first time that I really enjoy.
Yeah, me too.
So
I get so excited to see it finished. I'll stay up till like late at night just to like finish it so I can see it done.
Yeah.
Put it on.
And then I guess it's like a bit boring sometimes having to just repeat. So I try also to do similar things, but have variety in what I do. So I'll bring out a range of earrings, and they look similar. You can see that they the same style, but they're actually
They're
all different from each other.
But then how does that work? Like, say you stock shops, then
that's
you
what
just
they have to take.
They just take whatever you have, and they don't have anything online, because that's the thing with online.
Yes, I don't supply shops that's online.
Great.
Yeah.
Then it's
so I've got my things online. Most of the things I've got online at the moment is all one-off pieces, actually, because there's such a variety in shapes and colors and designs that they different styles, but they're all actually unique. So now it's like, if it sells, it sells, which is also a bit of it feels like a lot of hard work. But if I also supply shops now, it's kind of like they order within a style, and I can dictate in that order to give them a variety of shapes and colors and
Yeah.
So that works for me, because then I don't get bored, because
Yeah.
I don't want to get bored, because then it's like, what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But then I think it's just like choosing shops that are happy to work with the way that you work. But you're a pretty established brand now, like people know you. Like I was at Waterfront the other day, I was like, there's Uncle.
Yes.
And yeah, they know that it's always something fresh and new, and as long as it's not online, because that's where I find the problem can be, is they'll see a picture and then they'll be like, it's not like this. You know, they expect to receive the exact same shape and size and everything. But if it's in person and they pick and they choose, you know, then it doesn't matter. And it's a nice way to keep it. You've got collections, so it's not like you make like one piece and it's like completely different. You make collections, but within that there's variety. So it's kind of a nice mix in a way. Because like usually I like think of like collection items where it's always like repeated designs of the same, or like one-off pieces, and then each piece is completely different. But making like original collections, it's quite cool. Yeah,
I think it's kind of just developed like naturally from my need to have variety, to keep things interesting. And then obviously with the enamel, like there's just so many colors, so you know, why do you want to stick with one color? And you don't have to stick with the colors, and you don't have to stick with the shapes either.
And your target audience, do you feel like you have a relatively good understanding of who they are now?
Well, it's interesting because I feel also like that whole process has happened quite organically over time. And I feel like it appeals more to the tourist market actually than the like. I mean, I know local people like my things if they actually get in contact with my things, but I still find that difficult. So if it's in places where tourists go, it seemed to sell really well.
Interesting.
Yeah. And that was also my take when I had my little shop at the watershed. It was the same. It was 80% of my sales were from tourists.
But I guess because Waterfront is quite a touristy place. But then
yes, but even like knowing that the locals know that my things are available there, you know, because I'm sitting in Muizenberg, it feels like quite far out here for people to come here. I don't know, I find people in Cape Town very fickle, and I find people are so spoiled for choice here, and I feel like there's just so much jewelry out there at the moment, and so much of the same stuff. So I do think, I guess people do like to buy often what's trendy, or people do often like to buy what their friends already own. So anything a little bit is, you know, maybe like not such an easy sell. And then I guess also like price point, because there's so much jewelry out. It feels like there's so much jewelry out there at the moment, and it's all so cheap.
It's so cheap
that it's like on a local market you have to compete with that. So I feel like that if actually, you don't have that with the tourist market.
But that's the thing, like like we were walking around Waterfront, and you know, going around, we didn't go too much around town, like centre Cape Town yet, but around there, and just looking at a lot of the jewelry out there, it is everywhere, to be honest, even in Belgium, in London, England, everywhere. There's a lot of cheap, like really low quality jewelry, but then people don't understand, like it's handmade. Look, watch you do the process. Like you've got freaking enameling stuff, you hand cut it, you know, it's a lot of work and effort that goes into it. So people can't compare it. Like, but I feel like when you pick it up and you look at it, I can tell this is cheap jewelry. And this is good quality, handmade.
But you can tell because you make your own things. But I don't know if there's that awareness in the general public. I think that's also what makes a difference in then where you supply.
Yes, exactly.
Because it's almost like the places that you supply, they need to stand for handmade.
Yes, exactly. Definitely.
And so there's a shop also that I supply in Cape Town on consignment. And And I mean, I don't really do consignment for people anymore, because I find that shops don't take good care of your jewelry, and I supply the shop because they do take good care of the jewelry.
Yeah.
They keep everything clean.
Good.
Which is like,
wow.
I always feel like I say this, but for me it's like the biggest selling point for me supplying them is because I know they're going to make my jewelry always look good.
Yes, it's usually I supplied a shop, and like they didn't even, some pieces weren't on display, or some pieces were, but they sent it back to me after a while. I was just like, no, this isn't working out. Obviously wasn't the right place, because like I looked online, like everything else was like super cheap that they had, and I was like, I'm not gonna give it for free. Like it costs time, money to make and time to make. But it was so dirty, and I was like, no wonder you didn't sell it. Like it sold great in the beginning, selling loads, and then but like tell me, or just communicate. Like communication is so important with shops. Yeah. But buying is so much better. Like when you can get to that stage. But obviously in the beginning, not everyone wants to buy straight up, because they're testing it out. Will it sell? Is it the right market? And all of that. But that's also like, I mean, I'm sure like I did, like made lots of mistakes in the beginning with that, in saying yes to people, and it wasn't really the right target audience. It wasn't the right price point and all of that. But then knowing when it is the right one, then it sells so much better. Yes. Then you can easily move more from consignment to buying it. Yes. And
I don't think you know until you actually just try.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like trying just in the beginning, it's just a matter of trying. Exactly. And not being worried that you're going to make the wrong decision, because you can get it back. You can end the relationship. I mean,
yes.
It's not the end of the world, but you have to get it in front of people. Like that's always the thing. So many people sit at home and they're like making things, and they're like, oh, it must be terrible because no one's bought it. You're like, did you show anybody? And but like putting it in front of people and trying it is so important.
Yes, and I'm also finding now with the shops that I'm supplying that I feel is great shops to supply, because they keep on reordering. So obviously I'm going to think they're great shops to supply.
Yeah.
But it's also that kind of like interaction it's having with such way broader kind of like audience. I have people now coming to me in Muizenberg because they've seen my things at the waterfront or in town.
Brilliant.
And I just don't feel like I have that reach online. Mm-hmm. It just feels like Instagram's totally, I don't know, like I feel like there's nobody sees when I post, and I'm not really prepared to just pay for paid posts all the time,
For postage, you mean?
No,
for posts.
To pay, like to do those promoted.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I want to do that the whole time.
That doesn't work anyway.
Doesn't it?
No, it's not. It's so like, that's like Facebook ads. It's basically a watered down version of that. So like when you do Facebook ads, you need to like test lots of different audiences, test different graphics. You need to
I feel like I never get it right.
Out, and it can work really well, but it's like a whole testing phase, whereas that is just so limited in what you can actually do. You're literally just chucking your money and hoping it's going to stick somewhere. Like that doesn't do anything at all. But the thing is, like Instagram, obviously when it started, had so much more reach, because it was different then, but it is a bit more saturated now. So you have to be very strategic about the way that you do use it, because it can work really well. Like I've been invited to lots of like galleries, exhibitions, shops. Like one of my favorite shops in Seattle, she found me on Instagram and she was like, hey, do you want to stock my shop? And she orders huge orders, like that's big amazing. Quantities when she orders, and like that was from Instagram.
Oh, okay.
But it does work, but it just takes like time and strategy to like make it work. But if you're in a physical location and you have it in front of people in your shops, then great. That works. There's not one way of going about it and doing it, clearly. Yeah. And like this setup is so nice that you have here with like making studio here, and then your little like shop front in the front here. That's always the dream. It's like, oh, that's so nice, like having
it's nice, but it's also like farm road in Muizenberg, it's never going to be like busting trade.
But it's nice that people see you elsewhere and then they come here.
Yeah, and I mean, I do have people come in. Yeah. Random strangers. Yeah. So that's great. But Yeah, it's interesting. It's also like what you wish for, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like very happily close the door and just put my head down and work.
Yeah.
So I also don't feel like I necessarily want to be interrupted the whole time with
Exactly.
in this space.
Exactly.
So yeah, people knock on the door. Yes, sure, they can come in, but I don't necessarily want to have open doors all the time because I don't want to just be a shop assistant.
Exactly.
But
stuff. Like when we were here on Saturday with that the market here in the street, you were busy. Loads of people came. It was great. Yeah. It was really nice.
When it's open,
But it's nice because you can control like how much you open, when you want the doors open, you know, when you want to work, you know, whatever you want to do, which is so nice. Like that's one of the like strong motivators of like being self-employed. It's like choosing your hours and choosing what you want to do. It's damn hard work. Like you work a lot. But it's good. It's fun. It's something you're passionate about. And like you've been doing it for so long now, like you know, since 2006. So like you're obviously in it for the long run.
Well, I'm completely unemployable now, so I'm gonna just have to carry on doing what I'm doing.
It works. So
I often think about like if I had to like now go get a job, who would actually employ me? And I was like, nobody's gonna want to employ me.
Motivation. So keep going.
Oh, I'd be the worst employee. It's not gonna happen.
So in terms of like growing from when you started out making, you know, individual pieces, how did you get from there to where you are now?
Sure, it feels like it's been a long process. Yeah, so like I said, it started with the Biscuit Mill Market every Saturday. That was kind of, you know, totally enough to kind of like sustain us, because that market was pumping.
It was so good.
It was like a total like tourist market. It was just the right place, right time kind of thing. So that's how I kind of, you know, from doing markets, a lot of markets, I guess, like Biscuit Mill Market, and then I'm just trying to remember what other markets I did. You know, I did, like, over the years I've done Karmish, Skenker shows, and some other smaller markets, and even in the beginning, I don't think I had the capacity to really supply shops. I was just doing the market. And then obviously design in Durban, and so I was doing the markets, I was doing design in Durban, and then I had people come to me, you know, for private orders.
But I guess it's that thing of like being present, like people know. So even if they see you one week at the market and then they're like, oh, okay, nice. And then they see you again next week, then they're like, oh, okay. You're in their mind because you're constantly showing up. So that's kind of the same thing with Instagram now, is like being there regularly as a reminder, hey, I'm here, this is what I'm doing, whether you're in person or you're online. Obviously, it's better in person if you can, because then they can buy it straight away and they can touch it, they can look at it, they can try it on and feel connected to it and talk to you way easier. But like that's so important to then build from there, because if you just do a market every blue moon, it's just going to be so much slower. You can do it, but you were there every week. And that's like something you were committed to doing. Yeah, exactly. But then, so when did it get to the stage where you're like, okay, I can't like keep up with orders anymore, and you thought about hiring somebody to help you?
I've had lots of people work for me over the years. And I've also had quite a fair amount of like, you know, students coming to work for me and then going off and copying my work. So I've had that like, can you believe it?
That's so cheeky. Oh my god.
I mean,
how can people be
not
okay
happen
with
to you? No,
but a big shop copied my design, like to the T.
I've had some bad experiences with copying from people that actually worked for me.
I just think, how can you be okay with that? Like, how can
who are you as a human being? No,
that's ridiculous.
So that's, you know, so I've had that where I've actually trained people. So I've been burnt quite a few times, like in that way. But I think it feels like the whole growth has happened quite organically, and it kind of also feels like I've just tried different things at different times, depending on like the need for for money, I guess, you know. So it's like
it's a strong motivator.
You make a plan, or you try something new, or so I guess I can't even remember when I started supplying Fabricate. I mean, because I've got a long-standing relationship with them. They're probably the shop that I've been supplying for the longest. They used to buy wholesale from me, and then COVID happened, and then now they're buying they're doing consignment. But I feel like I need to some things I insist on wholesale, but other stuff they do consignment. But now they're also seeing if they're doing consignment, then they're waiting very long to get stuff because I just don't have the capacity. Because obviously I'm going to do the wholesale stuff first. So it's, and then also the biscuit mill market for me felt like, you know, it changed over time. So when I also don't feel like it resonates with me, like I felt like it changed, we left.
But that's where being like aware and constantly willing to adapt and change according to circumstances is such an important skill. It's not like, do this and then everything will be great. It's like, well, look at your surroundings, look at the response to that action. Like, is that working for you and the type of jewelry you have? So like just being motivated. Also, like in South Africa, you know, if you're not earning money, there's no other like option. It's like you have to make it work.
No, totally.
You have to like.
And I think you also have to take opportunities when they come your way. Because I often also, for me, feel like the one thing has led to the next thing. So I feel because of the biscuit mill market, you know, I was also approached by the watershed when they redid the whole watershed. And so then I opened a little shop at the watershed. You know, and I was there for 5 years and it was going really well and it was just flying. But then COVID happened and then I was like feeling like because we didn't know, and also because my market was so tourist based at the watershed, I was like I needed to close it down because I couldn't commit to the staff costs. And then obviously also because we weren't kind of like making any money then. But then because of that, I also finally, you know, made my online shop, which I was talking about for like years and years and years. So I often feel like crisis push me to do things, you know, that I've been talking and thinking about for a very long time. It's maybe also just my nature. It's like I need to get pushed into a corner until I actually finally do that thing that I've been thinking and feeling about.
But it's also resilient, like, you know, talking to you, hearing like, you know, all the different things, being burnt by people, copying your designs, like all these kinds of things have happened. A lot of people would maybe just give up and be like, oh no, it's not meant for me, I'm not going to do it. You're like, no, I'm going to find another way. That didn't work. Let me try this. And like, that's resilience. And it shows like, you know, it's proof like where you are at now. Like, I don't know how many shops you're stocking at the moment.
Jeez, I don't even know. So I've got some shops that buy wholesale from me. I supply Zaid's, the museum shop at the Zaid's, and that new shop Africa. So they're doing really well. So they're buying from me often now, which is great.
Town?
It's at the waterfront.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Waterfront's such a good place.
Yeah, and then I supply Flick ink also at the watershed. So that's 3. I supply Fabricate with consignment. I supply Alexandra Hoyer. She's got a boutique in Bree Street.
Cool. Nice.
Then there's a shop in Noordhoek that orders my mix and match little earrings for me. And then I've got random shops that order for me more erratically, like not so consistently, you know. And I think that's it for at the moment.
But that's great. So, but then obviously you can't really keep up with making that all yourself.
No,
so you have help with the making now.
Yeah, so the thing is, no, because I had an amazing guy, Stanley, that worked for me for 6 years or something, and he left to go home to Malawi last year. So he's left a massive gap, but now there's a new guy that I was trying out. He was doing some cutouts for me at the Cape Tech, and so I just offered him a job. So he came on Monday and on Tuesday and Wednesday, and he's coming again tomorrow. So we'll see how it goes on a trial period.
So like what sort of skills does he have? Or are you going to
He's been doing jewelry for a long time. And so he's been renting studio space at the Cape Tech, and then different people employ him, but on a kind of freelance basis.
Oh, nice.
So he does lots of different things for different people, but nothing
solid.
Nothing solid. So he'd much rather have the solid 3 days a week that I'm offering him,
it's consistent,
and you know, and then go in the other 2 days to work there, and then we'll see how it goes, because I might actually just employ him full time.
Yeah, if he works.
and then I've got Kanisha also working for me. She works for me twice a week. She helps me with all the ceramics.
Oh, nice. So does she do? Okay, so she does all the glazing and everything.
She does all the slip casting.
Great.
And then she does the
beautiful cups.
And then I'll do the
the decor.
I'll do the whatever. Those are actually reject cups, but anyway.
Nothing reject about it. It's beautiful.
So I'll do the transfers and the gold luster and like all the finishing things the way I want it to look, and obviously I'll make the originals and have molds made. But so say for instance I do the porcelain earrings.
Yes.
It's come to the point now where I can just tell her, okay, like roll a slab of white porcelain and these colors, and then I'll just say to her, I want these shapes, and then I'll just say, you go. And then she just does whatever she wants, and then I've got my shapes, and then she just copies my shapes and she cuts it out.
Great.
So that's amazing. So she's been with me for a lifetime. I mean, I don't even know how long she's been with me for.
That's so nice, but it's so nice when you have that relationship with somebody and it's like you can trust them to just do the things, you know, you're involved as much as you can be or need to be, let them do their thing. Great. Yeah,
and also now because of, I guess, as far as scaling up is concerned, big word. And is that because I've got so many orders now for enamel work, and all of our pieces have been hand cut up until now. I found a place to laser cut copper.
Exciting.
Very, very exciting.
Oh, so good. Game changer.
Yeah. Because there's not a lot of them around. Because I have things and brass that I have laser cut, and but apparently there's only this one place. But anyway, so I found them.
Great.
And now they're going to laser cut my shapes for me.
So good.
So I think it's going to be a big game changer, because I felt like I need to save time.
Yeah.
With that, and I need somebody in the workshop because I just wasn't coping. So if I feel like I'll see how it goes. Yeah. Like what a difference that makes, and then what a difference in diesel makes, like being here 3 days a week.
Definitely.
And maybe be even keen. I think some people might be pissed off with me for taking him. But I actually kind of thought, why has nobody offered him a job
Exactly.
yet?
I worked with somebody like that in the same setup. So she did jewelry, but she also did other kind of like art installation-y work, just like she's the hands and you're the idea. So she would do that. She obviously had her own ideas as well for her own stuff she was doing on the side, but that kind of like supplemented her income to do this kind of work for people. And she was great. She was amazing, super talented, skilled. She did my designs. And then she moved to Berlin. And I was like, oh no. Yes. What am I going to do now? Yeah. And I tried somebody else, and then it wasn't quite working. It was good, but it was kind of like still like a process of getting him to do it the way that I wanted. But then he went back to a different job as well. So it's like, if you don't give them a permanent full-time thing, that's kind of why like I'm so happy with the manufacturer that I have now, because like all of these things, it takes a long time to find the people who you trust, because then students then you're basically teaching them still, because then they're like, they don't do it to your standards, and I got high standards.
Yes, and then they go off and start businesses like that in studio designs.
Exactly. So none of that. Exactly. But that's why having something reliable that you can then rely on then gives you the confidence to go and approach more shops, and take on bigger wholesale orders or whatever that is. Because I was working as well, so I had to manage everything and try and do stuff, and that's what stopped me for a long time, was just that you don't have
the capacity.
I was like, I can't make any more jewelry, guys, and sleep and be a nice human. There's demand for it, but I can't. So that's when I was like, I've tried the different people and the different things, but that's where I decided to, what you've done, that's super great, is to then hire someone and they come, you've got the setup here. For me, it was hard. It was in my bedroom, for a long time. And then in our tiny house in London, it's like, I can't. It doesn't work. So that's why I was like, no, I want to find someone that's outsourced that can do it. And then I don't need to worry about that side of things. And then, just able to take on much bigger orders. since that.
Great.
But yeah, you find a way, like, you
Yes.
know.
Yeah, I'm keen to find out about this.
Oh,
one.
yes, I'm going to share it with you.
Details,
Yes. Yeah, you can get in touch with her and see. I don't know if she does enameling. You can get in
No,
touch with her and
I'll
ask
do the
her, but-
enameling. I've got so many ideas for things.
Yeah, but exactly.
Especially casting things. And,
Yes,
yeah.
she's casting is perfect. She's super great with that, and they can make the molds as well, so she can do that. Or you can send her. What she likes is when you send her the finished piece. Like this is one that she did as well. Okay. So send her the finished thing, and then they'll make the molds. Obviously that's a once-off cost, and then cast as many as you want, and then Bob's your uncle. Send it back all nice and shiny, all matte, whatever you want. Great.
Nice.
Update the stock on the website.
Jeez, that sounds like a dream, because
Yeah.
I still kind of feel like my job's so labor intensive.
Yeah.
You know?
But that's the thing, because like, I mean, I don't know if you know, I got electrocuted like super bad when I was living in England, and it totally messed up my shoulder. So that was also a big motivating factor for me finding help with the making, because it just would like flare up and then like all up my neck, and like I just have headaches like all the time. I like
How did that happen?
It was ridiculous. The sink wasn't earthed, which I didn't even know was a thing. And I touched the sink, and then I touched the fridge, and it tried to earth through me like that.
Why
like
does the
across my
sink
chest.
need to be earthed?
I didn't even know it was a thing. But there was all these electrical cables underneath. I never knew that was a thing, but apparently it's a thing, and it had gotten disconnected. So it was making this like this loud like bang noise, like through the day, but obviously no one had touched that and another electrical thing at the same time. Through me, like burned my thumb on the side, on the exit side, and messed up my back so bad. I literally couldn't like turn around, like I couldn't pick up anything. I couldn't like sit up. I couldn't do anything for like 4 months. I literally couldn't move.
That's
and then
so
for 5 years, I still didn't have full mobility to like turn fully like that. So I'd be like riding my bicycle down the street, and I would just listen, can I hear a car? And I'll just put my hand out and turn, because I couldn't turn around. I couldn't turn around. And yeah, it was ridiculous. But so basically, that's what I was like, if I'm doing the same thing, you know, like it's sort of like sanding and filing and stuff like that, it just flares up my back like mad.
You should go see Juliet while you're here.
I did see Juliet.
Oh, did you see Juliet? She's so amazing.
So amazing. So great,
So good for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, she was really good. But yeah, she was saying I should have gone afterwards to like I'm so jumpy since then. Like I never used to get a fright, and now I like jump at anything.
Well, it makes
so
sense.
my nerves are still fried even like years later. I'm just so like it's done something to my nervous system.
Yes.
But yeah, that basically like meant I was like, no, I can't physically actually
do all the labor,
do all that stuff. Like I want to, but I can't. And I was like, I want to make jewelry and I want to have a jewelry business. How am I going to make this work for me? So like all that now, I just focus on creating the designs, which is totally the fun part, and then I get someone else to make them. So it's great.
I need that contact, please.
Yes, I'm going to share it with you.
So you make your prototype.
Yep. And then I send it to her. I just sent her.
And affordable.
Pretty good.
Do you think affordable to sell? Yeah.
Check it with her. Like check, she'll give you quotes first.
Yeah.
So send the samples, and then she will give you a quote. Also depends on the materials or whatever it is you want to use. And then she'll give you the quotes before you agree to anything. So then so the minimum order for silver is 20 pieces, and for gold it's 10 pieces. And all different kinds of gold. And they do recycled, fair trade, fair mind. Like it's so nice. So that was like gold when I found it, because that's the thing. Like I don't trust just giving my my designs to somebody random. You sign like a non-disclosure agreement with her, like making sure that you feel safe that she's not going to sell your designs to other people. Like people who've come to her have said that they like saw on the manufacturer's catalog her designs, like you can buy it.
Oh my god!
And so they were like, what? So she's like very like transparent, like definitely none of that happening there. And yeah, so nice. Definitely way more affordable than doing it in Europe and in America. But yeah, for South Africa, I don't know. You can contact her and show her your designs.
And do you sell mostly online then?
No, in shops as well. Okay. So I have a bunch of shops in Belgium.
So you can still supply shops. Do you do consignment or wholesaling?
Both. I usually start off with consignment if needs be. Sometimes they just do wholesale straight away.
Okay.
But some of them consignment. But then I always say in the beginning, like, okay, like ideally I'd like to do wholesale and you buy it, but understand you need to test it out. So can we do 3 months trial period? And then after that you can make a decision. So one of the shops has just agreed now as well. They're like, hey, great, trial period done. Let's move to buying it. So the next order they're going to place, they're going to buy, which is great. Because then...
And you just literally design it and somebody else makes it?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Great. And so, yeah.
That's amazing.
Exactly. So I'm going to go to Thailand, and I've now got somebody who's going to ship the orders.
I'm also going to go to Thailand now.
Come hang out with me in Thailand. We can be sipping our margaritas on the beach while somebody else is wrapping our orders. So I have a great contact now who's going to be in charge of posting, shipping all my orders, which is so great. So that's going to be awesome. Yeah. So she's super excited to do it.
Amazing.
And I'm super excited for her to do it.
Yes.
And yeah, so that's going to free me up totally so I can be where I want, do what I want,
Yes.
and everything still runs.
And then you shipping from England at like what's like UPS is in America, hey? So shipping, like, is it just what do you use for shipping then? Do you have like a contract with the shipping company?
So basically, what's going to happen now? So the manufacturer makes it, then that gets shipped to my packaging manager.
Depot.
Shall we call her packaging depot? And then she will package up individual orders placed on the store online, or also to all the orders from the shops. So I'll just obviously email her with the orders, which one's what, and then she can wrap that all up and send that. So if it's a big order, I use DHL. I have a contract with them, so that's really nice for shipping overseas if I want to send to my overseas shops. Or if it's just local, I get them to pay. The shop pays the shipping. So I'd rather it be safe and secure and insured, because other companies didn't, at least from Belgium to the US, they didn't insure you for over so the maximum insurance was 4,000 euros, but sometimes my orders were bigger than that and they wouldn't insure it. And I was like, I don't really want to post it if it's not insured properly. And it's like a lot of work if that goes missing. Like there's a lot of pieces in there, like sometimes like over 100 items. I'm like, that needs to be safe. So in that case, she pays. That's just, if I'm, like once I forgot like a chain or something and that was my fault, then obviously I'm going to pay that.
Yeah.
But then generally they will pay for that. Just obviously make sure that's an agreement. Don't assume. But generally, from all my experience from last 10 years, they're happy to pay. If they're placing an order, they pay. Yeah. So it's not like ridiculous. It's like can depend, like between $60 and $200 for the order, but depends how big and heavy it is. Like sometimes you need to post boxes with as well, or if they've got boxes and it's a smaller replate, like a top-up order. But otherwise, locally in the UK, I just used Royal Mail, and it was great. So just the tracked, signed for, the tracked one, and that worked for me great. I could do that for 8 years. Didn't have any problems with that. Okay. But in Belgium, shipping was a bit of an issue. So the local post office was not very reliable. Yes. So that's why I just refused to use them after them messing up loads of my Christmas orders. I was like, argh. So then we got the contract with DHL and we just had to charge more for shipping. Yeah. But for one-off orders, it's a bit expensive. But for you from South Africa, obviously depends where you're posting to. You use courier services here, right?
Exactly. So, but the thing, because I've got a really great contract with FedEx, but now I'm worried that I'm going to lose my contract.
Oh, why?
Because I'm not shipping overseas enough.
Oh.
So it's I got the deal because of expected shipments, which was fine when I started my online shop, when everybody overseas was ordering a lot. Mm-hmm. And now I don't have so many overseas orders, and now because I'm not obviously fulfilling their quota, I'm possibly going to lose that. But it's crazy good rates. It's like 150 rand to America. It's like
what?
It's
so good.
Like 250 to 300 rand anywhere, pretty much in the world.
But that's because you have a contract with them.
Yeah, exactly. Which was like a whole long paperwork thing that I had to do. But now I'm just like I really want to sell online to overseas customers, that I'm just not sure how to reach more people overseas.
Instagram,
You know what
be
I mean?
your friend.
Because it's like I kind of almost feel more like I just want overseas people to order my stuff so I don't lose my FedEx.
Yeah. Motivation to make a change.
Yeah, it sounds ridiculous.
No, but it's true. Like I was in communication with FedEx as well for a long time about that, but I didn't have at that time, I wasn't doing enough things to do it. So I just did like one-off when I needed to with them, but I didn't do the contract. Yeah, exactly.
It's like over 1,000 rand. Like people aren't going to they're not going to want to buy a piece of jewelry for 1,000 rand and then pay over 1,000 rand to have it shipped.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Another question was, how do you manage your inventory and stock levels?
Well, I'm not set up like, I guess, in the way that you've set up your business now. So I just make to order now at this stage, you know. So at the moment I'm feeling like I'm running low on a lot of things that I don't actually have the time for, because I've got orders to fill and those kind of obligations. So at the moment it very much feels like that. Yeah. Like I get an order, I fill the order. Yeah. I work on that. Now hopefully with the laser cutting, you know, because I asked also for the Africa shop to give me a projection for 3 months, and now I know for the next 3 months what they are going to order. So great. I'm splitting it in, you know, 3 months, which was great. And it was the first time a shop actually has done that. So then when I placed my laser cutting order, which I'm hopefully getting early next week, I could have an idea of the work that was lined up. Yeah. But I very much work like filling orders, and if I have time for myself, and I don't really have more capacity or anything like that. And then I've got lots of Tupperwares. Yeah, me too. Like,
me too. The different collections and different stages, things like that.
Yeah. I've got like finished, unfinished, like, and it's like findings, and it's like it's a Tupperware system I've got.
Yeah, me too. In drawers, so the different drawers and then different Tupperwares.
That's
it works.
It's a visual inventory system.
Yeah,
and like it involves a lot of plastic packets.
Yes. But exactly. So like basically, so what you're saying is you wait until the shops place an order, and then you make it from there. Yeah. And then do you try and like, even if you have downtime, like just make stock
I do.
of pieces sell well?
Especially in winter, I do. I just crack on. Yeah. I just make things, and then hopefully also feel like I have enough time to work on new things.
Yes, exactly. That's the thing. Like when I started with the manufacturer, oh my God, I was like, you just have so much time freed up to make new collections, new things, to do that. It's really great. And find new shops, exactly, like everything.
No, I'm definitely keen for that, because there's things that I've been thinking about for so long now. I'm just not getting around to making it.
Exactly.
Know?
But that's the thing.
I love amulets and I love talismans.
Me too.
and I've made 3 different ones, you know, and it was like, it feels like years ago now that I made them, and I've been thinking about new ones for so long, and I'm just like not getting around to it. So that prospect of like making new ones and then like have somebody else actually produce it for me, it sounds like a complete dream.
It is fantastic. It's like the weight off your shoulders, because like I felt like I was just always chasing my tail, like always just trying to like keep up with orders and keep up with like making enough stock, and like got to a point, it's like, I don't want to approach any more shops. Like it got to like, okay, that's as far as it's ever going to go, because I can't physically with 2 hands and the hours in the day working another job make that much stuff. So exactly, but that's the thing of like, what I like to think was like, at first I felt like I was like super just like in my day-to-day business, and like this, just like kind of like, I need to make this necklace, I need to make these rings, I need to do this, I need to sign that thing, but never actually having time to like step out and step back and look at it and like, okay, where do I want this to go? What do I need to do? Like taking the step to do laser cutting. I did that a couple of years ago as well, and I was like, oh, hallelujah. Just because then I designed a collection around them being able to be laser cut, because I was like, I need to find different ways to scale. Like, you got to start somewhere to do that.
Exactly.
And then you can create new collections. You can see how to do more marketing. You can, put more time into online if that's a goal you want. Like, if you want to be selling to overseas, they, need to put it in front of them somehow. So freeing up time for those things that are super important. But if you're just making, then you can't.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that was another reason why I was feeling, even with the Watershed shop when I closed, like I was kind of feeling like happy in a way, because I was very much feeling like I was on a hamster wheel, just producing for the shop and not really feeling like having time to work on new things.
Yeah.
And then actually COVID was actually really nice for that.
Yeah. COVID had some benefits.
It had some very few benefits.
Yeah. Just one or
but
two.
like, definitely downtime to kind of just play and be creative again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that like keeps the spark alive. Because if you're just doing something bored, like I cannot do the same thing every day. I can't. Like my soul dies.
No, totally.
So yeah, exactly. Like freeing up that time to be able to do that. It's exciting. It's fun. Exactly. So like, what advice would you give to someone who's just starting out? Looking back on where you were and the kind of advice you would have liked to have given yourself back then.
I think first you need to kind of figure out what you like to do. So I think it needs to be fun, otherwise you're going to lose interest too quickly. So I think really kind of go with what feels like fun and creative for you, and then develop your ideas from there. And then I think take opportunities when they come your way.
Good advice. It's so true. And strike while the iron is hot.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes things happen and you're like, oh, that'll be nice. And you think that opportunity is going to be there forever.
No, they're not.
It's not.
They're not.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, it feels very much like the one thing leads to the next thing.
Agreed.
And I think you have to trust your gut
feeling.
And then also know that there's like so many different mediums to work in.
Totally.
So I think I think for me it's like, like it stayed kind of interesting for me because there was always something new, to kind of like try out, or, because I've worked in all sorts of weird things like over the years,
But then I kind of always come back to then like the enameling, like certain things that you love.
Yeah, I feel like the enameling is my home base.
Yeah.
But I just feel like even like with the porcelain now and the ceramics, it just feels like there's so many possibilities, so I feel like people shouldn't also restrict themselves, to
too early on.
Too early on, like kind of like really check in with like what's fun for you and don't overthink it, I guess.
Exactly.
And also just don't make things that you think other people are gonna like.
Yeah.
I think that's, and I know that some people do that, but that's never worked for me. People for me have always resonated most with what I like. So it needs to almost like be an expression of who you are. So be true to that.
And then find those people that like that, like going to the right markets, but like, that resonate and share those same values or interests and desires and, styles as you.
Yeah, because I think if you're creative, it has to be an expression of who you are, because you bring something unique into the world.
Yeah.
And I think don't copy other people's work.
Definitely don't copy other
people's work. You've got your own, you've got your own voice, and that's what people are going to resonate with.
Like when I'm designing, I like literally never look at other jewelry, because then I can't get that thing out of my head.
Yeah, exactly.
So I make a point of like not looking at jewelry if I'm designing a new collection.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like I want it to come from me, like what I want to create.
Yes.
Yeah. Find my inspiration for the collection and then go with that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Maritjie, for your time. And I hope everybody enjoys the conversation. And that's it for this week. Enjoy and see you guys next week.